So without further ado, let me bring Martha up to talk to you about how you can identify and break the CIO paradox. Please join me in welcoming Martha Heller to our stage. Why is it that CIOs who know what they're doing, they know the basics of IT, they know the importance of relationships, shared accountability, governance, project management, portfolio management, they know all of that, and yet these CIOs anyway are failing in their jobs? So I started to think about that, why. Now, the reason this CIO was left holding the bag was because he had not successfully set up structures of shared accountability with the business. When I asked who the business sponsor was for the ERP program, it was the board. Well, if the board is the business sponsor, do you really have the level of on-the-ground engagement you need in order to complete an ERP? So that's one example. Operations versus strategy. You're hired to be strategic. You want to be strategic. Everybody wants you to be strategic, but you're fighting fires all the time. A couple of years ago, I took 16 paradoxes, divvied up into buckets, and I put them on tables like this for a couple of different CIO conferences and asked people just to put an X next to the 3 that really hit them where they lived. This one came up every single time in the top 3. Sometimes, did you have something to say? Do you want to share it? No, I'm joking. Share it with the group. The business wants new technology like they've never wanted it. Just because they want it doesn't mean you've gotten rid of all your legacy. But if you can't get them to look past all the fun bells and whistles into the legacy so that you can fix those problems, you won't ever get to the good stuff. Or if you get to the good stuff, you'll have a worse situation on your hands, and then the next CIO who succeeds you will say, I inherited a mess. Being transparent about what's happening in IT cannot be overstated. In fact, when CEOs talk to my firm about replacing their current CIO, the #1 issue is IT is a black hole. We don't know what's going on in there. I love this quote. He says, blaming IT systems for business problems is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Which I love that, because it's like 18th century, right? So the last item may be my very favorite, because as a journalist, I've always relied on the power of language. So I do an interview series called the CIO Interview, because I thought that was, hired a lot of branding people to help me with that. And one of the questions I regularly ask is, did you change the name of your IT organization to create change? Does your IT organization have a motto? And I often get a very strong negative reaction where it's about delivery, it's about results. We don't need to worry about the names of things. The minute you put a motto on a t-shirt, you're doomed. He said, no coffee cups and t-shirts in my organization, which I understand. But if you think about the fact that political movements have been launched by a powerful speech, I have a dream. I don't. That's not mine, by the way. That belongs to somebody else. And that companies spend millions of dollars to find the right 3 words to describe their products. We know that language is powerful. So right now, your technology organization most likely is facing a dizzying array of projects and demands and strategies and directions. And the question really is, would a few choice words innovate, value, provide your IT organization with some focus that they could use and send a message to your clients and customers and business executives that change is afoot? So, I guess what I would say is language is a very powerful tool that's available to all of us, and it doesn't cost too much. Are you using it effectively? So that's my breaking the paradox checklist. Whether it's useful to you, or maybe even more significantly to your teams who are thinking about, how am I going to become a CIO? Great people development programs to make sure you have the blended skill set. If you don't have it in-house, get good at recruiting them. Once you've got them, embed them in the business. When it comes to the legacy problem, you can't just layer stuff on top of the foundation. You've got to get the business to see the value of investing in those foundations. Once you've got that done, get outside and start meeting with external customers. Take the good stuff you're doing in IT and spread it around. Be a chameleon, pick up new skills all the time while you're doing all this. Have the patience and resilience and wherewithal to have all of your stakeholders chillax, as my daughters would say, and wait for you to line things up correctly, build transparencies, and make sure that you're using language effectively. Do all of that and also walk on water, and you will be a successful CIO. In conclusion, I would like to say, I want to echo what Mary Fran started her talk with, which is that I've been working with the CIO community for 13 years now, which is hard to believe because I continue to be 26 years old. So how does that happen? And one of the things that I have just been so delighted with and impressed by is CIO's generosity in sharing their best stuff with one another, and the enthusiasm with which CIOs take that learning and go and apply it. This book does not solve the problem. Again, I am not a consultant with a roadmap or a model. These are stories about how CIOs are grappling with all of these challenges, hopefully packaged up and told in an entertaining and useful way. So I guess my final comment today is buy the book. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Martha.